Welcome back, and this is the discussion segment of Good Morning Anambra. And of course, we know that today is the 27th day of May 2024, and it happens to be Children's Day. So we are here this morning to talk about commemoration of this day because it's being celebrated annually on the 27th of May every year. And today we are looking at the topic empowering future leaders, enhancing the well-being of Nigerian children through quality education and skills development. Of course, we know how important our children are. But today we are going to talk about a whole lot. We are going to look at some of the challenges they are facing, their rights that are being trampled upon, and some of the successes that have been made so far when we talk about, the children and also upholding their rights and every other thing concerning them. The theme for this year is still enhancing the total well-being of the Nigerian child through quality education and skills development. So we have in our studio this morning two people that will be helping us, talk about this topic. We have Right Honorable Victory Iroma Ekunife. She is the Speaker, Anambra State Children's Parliament. Madam Speaker, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you.
We also have Honorable Ambassador Charles Ndokoba, a male ambassador, Anambra State Children's Parliament. Charles, glad to have you.
Thank you.
All right. It would not be bad for me to wish you guys Happy Children's Day, right? We are celebrating ourselves. Even me, I'm celebrating myself today because we are all children, right? So Happy Children's Day to all of us right here in the studios of Anambra Broadcasting Service this morning. All right, let's start with you, Madam Speaker. Let me be calling you that. Okay, Mr. Okay, you don't want, oh, sorry. Okay, that's good. Mr. Speaker. All right, let's start with the theme of this year, empowering future leaders. Now, as a Speaker of Children's Parliament, I want to know what this particular theme means to you and how we can apply it in our daily lives to support children and also their rights.
Okay, thank you very much. When we talk about this topic, the first thing that should come to our minds is that the future leaders we're talking about are the children. And we're already seeing means by which children are being empowered, even by the reason of this very celebration and the presence of the Children's Parliament.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that very body and construction of this very body is enough reasons to show that the government actually are interested in empowering the children who are the future leaders.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for that explanation. Coming to you, our ambassador, this year's commemoration, we've been celebrating children for the past how many years now? And this year's celebration, how would you actually explain it? Did it hit you differently? Is it just going to be the normal celebration?
Thank you for that question. Radically, every year we usually advocate for children. Children's Day is all about children. But specifically this year, I'm quite interested on why the theme should be about education. It is obvious that education for children should be one of the most thing I feel happiest listening to. So to this one, it's struck me with a good feeling that if we begin with education for children, we are truly celebrating them because future leaders is all about education. Yeah, when there's lack of education, there is nothing we are talking about. So this year is centered on education. I guess education should be one of the most prioritized things for a child. I feel happiest.
Oh. Okay, all right. Mr. Speaker, coming back to you, made mention of the fact that government is willing to stick out their net to say that the rights of children are well protected. And he made mention of education. Of course, we've seen that in the theme that we are discussing today, making sure that every child has that basic education. Now, the question is, how can a child or children in Nigeria, in Anambra State, all of them have this access to basic education, basic health care, and all that? Because we have seen over the news that we have a whole lot of people that are out of school children. They don't go to school, and you see most of them hawking in the street during school hours.
Okay, that brings me to talk about the need for proper or complete implementation of this very law. We all know that, and we still appreciate Mr. Governor for his own should I call it benevolence?
Yeah.
Yes, it was implementing the free universal basic education that is in section 17 of the Child Rights Law. But what we still lack is complete implementation and execution, enforcement. Initially, the governor, there was this, should I call it, people made so much noise about the fact that the presence of free universal basic education still, even with that presence of that, some schools still collected tuition fee from the students. And those schools, such principals and headmistresses and headmasters were sacked. But recently, we no longer hear about these things. In Anambra East, we still have government schools where they pay fees. So I think they shouldn't really relent in its enforcement. Yeah, there shouldn't really be a relentlessness in that aspect. Because if it's not really about making laws and about implementing, the governor has said his own part. He has said his own part. It's not left for, let there be kind of a body that will make sure that this very law that has been implemented is carried out to the letter.
All right. Yeah, talking about implementation, of course, with your office as Mr. Speaker, the Speaker of the Children's Parliament, what have you done so far since you've noticed that in some areas that children still pay tuition fee? Have you made any moves so far to see that this is corrected? Because we are in the era in Anambra State where we see something and say something.
Okay. I think that's even the main reason why, as he said, we, not just him, we are so excited about this very thing because it encompasses what we have been seeing and it's an opportunity to say something about it. Yes, gathering our facts because obviously we have to say, look at where it's happening, and when we gather for our sittings, we have 63 members of the house. So everybody is coming to represent his or her own local government and tell us, see what is happening over there. So during our sitting, these reports came. That's okay, look at Anambra East, and we have all these things down. And our moves have already been calculated.
Want to add something to that?
Yeah. Just like it's quite a conundrum to talk about law without its implementation again. So when we talk about education and children, it's in line with law and implementation, because when there is law and there is no enforcement, it's meaningless. So yeah. Now, this free universal education, I guess it existed. Yeah, it existed far back years during the British administration in Nigeria. I don't think people do pay fee. Or let me say, but the fact I know is that Anambra Azikiwe, the pioneer leader of Nigeria, yeah, during those periods, they usually write letters to the presidents they now call vice chancellor, presidents of universities, that in America, even in Nigeria. And that was in Stora College. So in Stora College, he wrote a letter and it was approved. And that is free education. So that's to talk about that in this era. We have to even adopt that far back or even implement this law, because this law already existed and it has been tried in the previous years. I don't know what happened that we have to pay fee during this time. Maybe economic background. But I guess it has already existed, and if it has existed and it worked for many people, like Tafawa Balewa and rest of them, they educated without money. So if it worked for them, I believe it will also work this time. And in fact, we need it at most this time. So.
Okay, thank you so much. Let's move a little bit away from education, but I know it's very important. Well, we want to talk about some other challenges that you're facing. Of course, when you have your sitting, I know that people will come up with different issues or challenges they are facing as children in Anambra State. So we want to hear some of them. Of course, we're celebrating children today, so we want to hear from you.
Okay, whatever I have to say, it will still boil down to education. But it seems that we've just talked about the free education. We've not really
we are still getting to that, but go ahead with your submission.
Right. Okay, so during our sitting, there was this motion, yes, that even in the presence of education, this skill developments we're talking about, the skill is not even there. Talk more of developing them. The skills are not even there. So there should be absence sense of these things is that we are talking about economic breakdown. Yes.
Yeah.
Imagine in a government school where education is free. Yet, let's say before midterm break, you will still hear this teacher saying projects. What is the project? Buy this, buy that. Things that will not even develop the skills of these children. Buy plywood. Cardboard sheet is now, that's very rampant. You have to buy 10 of them. So these are issues actually affecting us, the children. Now let's come to the aspect of this flood in Anambra West. There was a move towards that, just to adjust it. They had to adjust their curriculum. So that when the rain comes, they will stay at home. And later on, during December break, while others are on break, they will
Go back to school.
But then, it's not working. It's not working. So the government have to do something about it. So if others are in a session, we have 3 terms. These ones might be going to school for just 2 terms. So the adjustments there is not really working. There has to be another means. Or even if, I think they tried it before, and just for some time, they did something about it. It worked for some time. But there needs to be continuation. Follow up and make sure that these things are actually working out. Because it's just as if those children over there are now disadvantaged. Whereas we are talking about that equality, all the children are entitled to this and that. How will quality education, these topics that should be covered in 3 terms, now be covered, they can't even cover up in 2 terms. So I think that actually needs to be looked into.
All right. Away from education, just like I said, but it seems that Mr. Speaker just want to talk about education. But away from education, I know that there are other things, other issues, challenges facing the children. We talk about poverty, we talk about malnutrition, talk about insecurity, a whole lot of them. So I don't want it to come from me. I want it to come from you people in the studio this morning.
Just like I said, education and a child they're not mutually exclusive. Okay. In fact, when you talk about children, you talk about their life, their health, and education. So there are other dimensions that do affect these children's rights. Now we have the limitation to right to health. We have the limitation to gender issues, which is rampant amongst children. Now we also have issues of malnutrition. You know, malnutrition and abuse can cause a child from being educated, can even affect a child. Then the highest, in fact for me, that's from a personal point of view, I guess the highest is the parental control. Because a child without a parent is being driven away from the home. And we see these children being on the streets, and at the end of the day, they won't get educated and they will become touts at the end of the day. You see, this is a major problem we have to face. So these are other varieties of problems that affect children apart from education. So when a child is not healthy, how do the child engage in free participation? Because healthiness is one of the key ways to assess a child. For example, on the street, if you see a child with barefoot, no clothes or less clothes, begging him, you know that this child is malnourished. Malnourished. There is problem with the child.
Okay, maltreated.
Yeah, maltreated, malnourished, and most of the time abused. And I wonder what would happen when there are many of them on this street and there are others going to free education. I guess if there is free education, all these things could be assessed under, though they are priorities of human beings. But when we talk about children, like I said, they are not mutually exclusive from education. So that's what
we talk about the implementation of this free education in Anambra State. Yeah, I know to some extent it's still not well implemented, but there are schools that we still have around us that they is tuition free. But the problem is, are these children willing to go back to school? Are their parents encouraging them to go back to school? Because I've seen a situation whereby a girl was hawking something in the street at about 8:30 p.m. in the night. She was hawking oranges. Someone called her. Why? She said the mom gave her the oranges to hawk. Did you go to school today? No, I don't go to school. What about free? The girl just ran away. She didn't want to talk. And later on, the same girl in a different location, someone saw her and said, okay, let me pay for everything in your choice. I distribute these oranges to everyone here. I'm going to pay you. How much is it worth? The man paid him. I don't want to see you. Just go back home, sleep, so that tomorrow probably you get strength and go to school. For where? The girl went home. She changed location, went home and carried another a tray of oranges.
Oh.
Now the question is, yes, I know to some extent it might be very difficult to implement it, or they are still finding it difficult to implement it. But what about places that tuition is free? But then again, parents wouldn't allow their children to go back to school.
Yeah, okay.
That is where the aspect of controlling parents.
Yeah.
I don't really think there will be a child that will say she doesn't want to go to school.
Children are vulnerable.
That is where they meet their mates. No, let's come to think of it. Imagine other students are going to school and you are just at home. You see other children on new sets of uniforms, their sandals, stockings with their school bags. Come on.
Okay, let me address that girl you saw that was selling a girl or a boy, anyhow, that was selling orange. I guess when you are far from something, whenever that thing is, maybe you hear something like that, it will be much difficult for you to adapt, especially when there are external factors holding you. For example, this child may have wanted to go to school, and I still believe that he or she will still want to go to school. But for the fact that there is poverty existing there, that's the reason why when he or she changed location, he or she again went and brought oranges and started selling. This shows you that the rate of poverty or the lack of parental control is quite alarming.
I don't think it can necessarily be poverty, because the tuition is free.
What of food?
It's from the part of the parents. See, you can't even tell me, even the price of food now is on the hike. So it's not by the oranges that the girl was given to sell that they can even feed breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So, but we see that in most of these cases, these things happen to children that are not biological children. Maybe living with a guardian or that kind of thing. And imagine the child selling all these oranges. Obviously, nobody likes stress. She will obviously want, if ask her, do you want to go again? She said, I want to sleep, or I want to eat and sleep. Trust me, she went home and met the auntie at home again, who told her, you didn't go?
Of course, actually, she said the woman is her mother.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah, because I guess it's given on
it might not just be people that are living with you.
That don't even value education.
That is the problem.
Okay,
that
for
is
example,
the problem.
Assuming I came from a poor family background, so, and my mom gathers orange and say, Charles, go to this market, I'm going to sell orange. And I went there because I love education, and someone may offer me a scholarship to school. I will first of all say, okay, you get this scholarship, and at the end of the day, you come back home, you won't feed. You see, it's giving undue weight to some rights, certain rights, right to feed, right to life, even good life. So I guess the child is trying to help the parents, which is not a duty of a child. But children are vulnerable, like I said. They can do anything. They're narcissistic, they love people anyhow, and rest of them. So I guess that's the problem with the child.
I'm not all about helping the parents.
I'm not all about.
We still have some children that go to school. At the end of the day, when they come back, they still have the parents with sales. But the problem is when they don't go to school at all. They just hawk throughout the day, throughout the night, and they even have barely few hours for them to sleep and have rest, and the next day they continue with the sales again. But then again, when you made mention of the fact that it's not possible for a child, not a parent, a child not wanting to go to school, I think there was a time a particular video went viral on social media. That was the era where a lot of people are saying that education is scam. Then I saw a little boy that was being interviewed. He actually spoke in Igbo language. He was like, he wants to hit it big, make it big, that he doesn't need education. He was mentioning a whole lot of people that didn't go to school, and yet they are successful in life. But so you see that there are people that already have this mindset, probably with the environment, people around them, and what people say around them. They will be like, why will I even bother myself going to school? Let me just go into business. I don't care. At the end of the day, I'll just be a billionaire. And maybe if I decide to go to school at the end of the day, that's it. So again, this kind of children, how do we change their mindset?
I think this aspect, what parents need to do now is to learn to channel these children. education not necessarily just about being a doctor, a lawyer. A child
Just
who
get the
wants to go
basic.
into business can still go to school and still study about that business.
Yeah, what I wanted to chip in is that education is not about going to school. That's one of the flaws of education is a scam, you know. They thought that education is not about going to school. Now, for instance, in the child right law, you know, a child can still learn trade, and even learning
But
trade is
after
all about
JSS3.
education.
But
After
after
JSS3, I know that. Now, that's in the section 17 of the child right law. So it is literally that learning anything is all about education, and so we learn at various stages of our life. And it's also because of this fact that at the end of the day, you see people who are not eager to go to school becoming rich. I don't think that there could be any rich man that didn't go, that wasn't educated. Educated in the sense of general education. We have general education,
Informal
we have
education.
going to school. So education can cover formality and informality. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we are talking about at least getting the basic.
Exactly.
Yeah, before you now decide. Because as a child, as somebody that is not even up to 10 years, you don't even know what you want to be in life. So you need to go get that basic before you now decide, okay, I think I'm done with education, but at least to some extent, you can, know what you're doing at the end of the day.
I love that so much. But know that, children are, okay, let me say like this, parents are teachers. So at certain points in life, we do observe that for the fact that, assuming I'm a parent, let me use my analogy, assuming I'm a parent and I'm very poor, which I can be, I pray not to be. So, and my child, I know that I can't send this boy to school. I can't send him to school. So I have to, and I'm a teacher, I'm intelligent, or because of certain activity, I did not become rich, something like that. So what is then socialization? If socialization can start with parenting.
Remember that we started discussing this when we talked about the free education in Anambra State.
Yes.
So if the tuition, if the school is free, that you don't have to pay for anything, why wouldn't you allow your child to go to school? That was the basis of our discussion.
Okay.
Before we start saying whether you are a poor parent or not, that's the thing. Because some people, some parents, they don't really value education. They will tell you that, but now he's a billionaire. You get the point. So we are talking about parents also advising and also encouraging their children to go to school, whether you have it or not, leveraging on the fact that we have free education system working in Anambra State. All right, let's go again. Look at, we are in the ICT era, in technology and digital era. And now we talk about children acquiring one skill or the other. How can we leverage on technology, digital platform to, let our children or teach our children about being creative, acquire one skill? Of course, we talk tech everywhere right now in the world. So we need to, start on time to teach our children. I mean, this is the way to go. So how can we use this platform to encourage our children to be creative and also learn one or two skills online?
But let me just ask a little question. But does the era of computer do suggest that everybody must know computer?
We're not saying everybody must know it, but at least to some extent, we need to introduce them to it so that people that have the skills and the willingness can join. But if you don't introduce it to them, how would they know the benefits? In life, we need to try a whole lot of things. As an adult, before you decided that this is what you want to do for yourself, you must have considered a lot of things. You must have known that I'm good in this particular area, I'm not good at this. And probably if you are being given the proper education in a particular area, you will excel. Or if you are being given an opportunity in a particular area, you excel. Now we are talking digital. We are in the digital era. And we are talking about being creative and children acquiring one skill or the other. How can we leverage on this particular situation or what we have on ground now to encourage our children to be more creative?
Okay, since we already have a platform of gathering all these children, that is a school, and with the presence of the free universal basic education,
Yes.
we want to believe that 100% of the children have the opportunity to go to schools. So now how do we achieve this? If these digital skills can be incorporated, not necessarily digital skills, just incorporate as skills, then we now have both handworks and digital skills.
Yeah.
Be incorporated into the curriculum of schools. Then you see that as they are acquiring this knowledge right from the scratch, I think this is where these other countries are kind of edge above us. They start from the scratch. I was watching a video of students in China. Look at these little boys. What were they doing? They were constructing kind of, I think it was a sewing machine or something, but with the standards, the wooden part of it and everything. Little boys with tape measuring and cutting, and my God. So that is what we need to start up to if we must achieve this. We have ICT and all this. Most of the ICTs in schools are not even functional. ICT is even very far. We talk of library, even laboratory. That one is an issue. Maybe let me just come out a little bit. When you go to schools like SS3, obviously we know that they write exams, they take WAEC, NECO, and practicals are part of it. But practicals should start from SS1. But when you go to these schools, they just have buildings without ceilings, buildings without, come on, and they call those laboratories. Then you see that when they are in SS3, all they do, the lecturers will just have to bring the question and tell them, see what you will do. Some of them will not. How will you understand something that should be taught since SS1 and you start understanding in SS3? So that is an issue. If these skills can be incorporated from JSS1 even, as they're going to the ICT, we have various skills. We have programming, we have coding, we have cyber security. If these children can start on time to learn from stage, you see that when they get to SS3, there won't be room for these people to say, I don't want to go to school again, because they find what most persons drop out of school. Why? Because they want to go into cryptocurrency full time. But if they are lectured, if they are taught right from JSS1, they will see reasons. Okay, let me go into cyber security. This is exactly where children have their minds at now. So if they can be taught in schools, there won't be need to leave schools.
Okay, so what you're saying is that it should be infused in the school curriculum.
Exactly.
Okay, we are still here in the studios of Anambra Broadcasting Service this morning. We are celebrating our children because today happens to be Children's Day. But we are going to take a commercial break right now. When we come back, we continue with our discussion. Stay with us.
The world needs moms. With a splash of golden terra oil, a mom can transform a frown into a smile, change no thanks into yes please, resolve family feuds without blowing a whistle. Providing tasty family meals is all that matters. Where there are moms, there is love. Golden Terra Oil, or pure love.
The new Milo 3-in-1 Milky and Creamy is truly milky and contains calcium. So, no need to add milk for that rich, creamy cup, which helps to nourish and energize your kids. Milo 3-in-1 is such a smart choice. Milo, energy to go further.
From Nestle.
I give them a quality training. What I mean is that it comes to, in biblical aspects. Make sure that, first of all, give them, make them to know about Jesus Christ. Because the Bible said that train a child in a way it's supposed to be. When he grow up, he will not depart from it. That's one of the way. If you don't do it, I believe that there's grace that can carry a child to have a good future when he grow up. That's one of the ways, and very, very important in every family.
By giving them good education, giving them good upbringing, and teaching them how to pray, mostly.
I believe that if a child has good upbringing, then added to what he learned from school, then the child will make a good citizen.
When you look around this time, you see that things are falling apart. But if we, the parents, can take our children, look into their activities, care for them, whenever they want to go out, checkmate them, ask them where they are going, and checkmate their friends, their peers, because some of these children, they are God sent, but people that is devilish we see them and want to corrupt them. Do you understand? So when parents should sit up with the activities, because many parents in schools now, many parents will not go to the school to see how their children are faring or what is happening in the school. They care about their business, their club, where they go, they do this, they do that. That is not fair. I could remember when my child is in Maria Regina. I don't tell my children that I'm coming to the school. Anytime I want, I will just jump into the school. I will ask. The principal will call them. But if every of us will start doing that, I know that our children will do better.
First of all, it's starting from home. When you are even feeding the child, you start at that point in time to train the child. Then when he or she becomes up to 3 years, you now send the person to primary, to nursery school. That's formal education, which is the ultimate and best gift any family can give to their children. And then making sure that when you are training the child, you will not be among those people that are destroying them. You have to allow the child to imbibe good reading culture. There are libraries, public libraries. There are school libraries. During the PTA meetings, parents, they have to make sure that their library is well equipped, and then that the pupils or students make use of the library for them to imbibe good reading culture. And then they have to help them in their various schools for them to study.
Welcome back to the program. It's still Good Morning Anambra, and we are still here in the studio commemorating the 2024 Children's Day that happens to be today. And also we've been joined by Jennifer Eluemono. Jennifer is a clerk, Anambra State Children's Parliament. Glad to have you on the show this morning, Jennifer.
Thank you.
All right, quickly, you know, we listened to what our respondents have to say about children, and most of them, we are really talking about the role parents have to play in, safeguarding their children and making sure that they know the kind of people they hang out with, the companies they keep, and making sure that they are actually, when they are going to school, they are actually doing what they are sent there to do, studying and encouraging them to read their books, read novels, and when they are even on the internet, they go to a site that will help educate them the more. Then the question I have for you right now is, the parents we have nowadays, do you think that they are fully, fulfilling their responsibilities as a parents? Because these people out there enumerated the roles parents have to play to ensure that their children are well trained, that their children will become a good ambassador in the society. So do you feel that the parents that we have nowadays, that they are really fulfilling these responsibilities?
Yeah, I feel like classifying this school, first of all, the boarding school and the day school we have. Yeah, so it seems parents are usually faced with business. So I think for this current situation of Nigeria, especially when we're having a diminishing effect on the economic background, the parents have to, first of all, make sure that they pay the school fees. So I think they are more entitled to business than education. Or some will even put their children in boarding school, believing that school is also an agent of socialization. So the school should take care of this. And they, the parents, should just care about the feeding, pay the school fees and basic necessities. I guess that's the problem. Because when the school and the parent participate actively in this child role playing, I guess it will give more favor to the children. Yeah, it will help. For example, in a boarding school, during PTA, I guess PTA meeting is one of the best ways parents, children, and a family, that's the school family and the parents, should relate together very well in positive. But most of the time, you see that in some schools, we see only the parents and the teachers having this PTA meeting. The children won't join it. I guess it's giving undue weight to what PTA meeting means, because it's supposed to be dialogue with the children, parents, and the teachers, so that if there is any opposition, the children can clue in. So for the concurrent or the current situation in the status quo, the parents are not giving much to children. They believe that children should be taken care by these agents of socialization called school. So they have done their own part by providing the school fees, and when they come home, they are being fed. So that's literally all I can say for that.
So in other words, the role of parents is just to make money and send their children to school and also provide their basic needs, not to necessarily, help them with their upbringing, educating them on what to do. Like the last respondent said that you should encourage them to read books, not just to read to pass examinations, because that's the problem we have with today's children. They just read to pass examination, but they don't read to enrich their knowledge banks.
And you also encouragement. I get so many people are not understanding this word encouragement. Sometimes parents can be at home, they call their child, you have to be doing well. You have to be doing well in education. I guess this is not a part of, it's a part of encouragement, but this is not that encouragement. You can even take your child out. And for example, when I was in school, my principal, in order to encourage me or some other students, we usually have this outing on Sunday that selects the best students. So it's a means of encouragement. And the other Sunday, when I'm coming for mass, I will dress neatly. I will be sparkling so that he will select me. This is an encouragement. And believe in me, when this is rejuvenating, it will keep on. You see, many people will be getting to that neatness. So if that is incorporated into education, I guess the children will be doing well. The children will be doing well.
All right, Jennifer, do you have a different view?
Of course. When we talk about well-being of a child, we are not just referring to academically. We talk about mentally, emotionally, and otherwise. And then we look at domestic violence as a major problem affecting children in Anambra State. Now, domestic violence, how do it happen? With whom do it happen? We check and find out that it is with the parents. So in a world like this, we need value reorientation. We need a place where our parents should be made to know that some of their actions at home affect the children, both in school and every other places. And then another thing is, the only reason why a child will be outside during school hours is because the parents allowed it. Now remember, home is the first agent of socialization. Now if we want a healthy children, if we want children that will be productive in the society, then we must go back home to the foundation. So I think parents has lost more to do in the productivity of children in the society.
Yeah, okay, because that's what our respondents out there said, that parents, a lot of parents these days, they have forgotten their major responsibilities when it comes to child upbringing. He just said that most parents these days, what they just think is their responsibility is just make the money, send them to the best schools, and then feed them, buy clothes for them, and that's it. Do you know that there is something we call family time? Even if your children, your wards, they are in boarding house, they come back for holidays. What do you do with them when they come back? Do you talk with them? Do you ask them questions? Do you even monitor them to know the sites that they visit online? Do you even know the kind of friends that they keep? These are so many things our parents, some parents these days, they don't even care about it. Some leave their children at the mercy of the house help to take care of them, because all of us, we want to make money, we want to our children to be well fed, we want them to, but what about their upbringing? What about their character? Most parents, they don't care about it. And that is why we are here again today to talk about it. And I felt that, as children, we still talk about it to let our parents know that there are some certain things that they need to start doing if they have forgotten. Because if their own parents didn't imbibe the kind of character and attitude that in their lives, would they be where they are today? That's the question. But then some people will still ask, you cannot give what you don't have. Because most of these parents we have nowadays, they didn't even pass through proper training at home, because nobody taught them that this is right, this is. Some just grew up on their own. But then again, we are talking about education, we are talking about skill acquisition. Now, I want us to talk about some of the disadvantages or challenges we will face when we have a situation where we have a whole lot of children, out of school children, or children that are basically not creative, not skillful at all.
Okay. It is very crucial in this world that we are in today. It is very crucial for a value reorientation. When I say value reorientation, we need to know how to succeed. There is a need to succeed. And then when we talk about need to succeed, we have to look beyond just academic excellence. That's where skill acquisition or skill development comes in. Now, some of the disadvantages that will have to lead us to skill acquisition is that even in schools, there is a poor infrastructure. Then poverty. Sometimes it's not just about going to school. Yes, there is free education, but then when you get back home, do you have good shelter? Your basic needs, are they provided? Apart from going to school and getting. So these are disadvantages we face. And then there are a problem of gender-based violence. All these things are affecting the children. So there is a need for all the stakeholders, everyone that is overseeing the well-being of a child, to put hands on deck in making sure that in this generation we are in, children are being well taken care of.
So let me add a point to that. Yeah, I guess skill acquisition is already incorporated in education. So for a child to stay in a class, to listen to a teacher, to write, to observe the class, to make noise is even a skill. Yeah, it will help at certain points of life. Now, I guess what is diminishing or what is holding this skill acquisition is the current curriculum. I have no problem with that students write notes in their classes. I have no problem with it. But what I have problem is that, for example, what is the need for a textbook when students have notebook? And what is the need for a notebook when students have their textbook? Now, it ends up holding time for these children to learn a lot of things in the school curriculum. For example, I don't get it when we are told to keep on rewriting for the past 100 generation what had already existed since 5 BC or since the 17th generation. For example, in chemistry, you enter the class and tell a student that if you mix HCl plus this one, it gives you this chemical. Now, there is no laboratory to do that. And at the end of the day, this child reads this thing, understand this as a theory. But in practical, tomorrow you call him or her, come and put HCl and this thing. At the end of the day, the person can't be able to identify them even. So I guess the problem of skill acquisition lacking in children is that the education should first of all give space for this. What is the essence of projects buying cardboard papers and wasting others in non-skillful activities? Rather, you can tell a child to keep on doing debates till your SS3, and at the end of the day, the child will be productive. So it is in conundrum that when we talk about education, we have to talk about skill. Education, classwork should give more advanced skill, because what you are learning, the skills, the talents should be based in school activities, though there are external factors, the environment, but there are lots to learn from that school activities. And I guess it should give space for the incorporation in a child.
All right, thank you so much. Quickly before we go, Jennifer, I know you want to add something, but just also say something about this. How do we address the issues of, we've mentioned poverty, child labor, a lot of things, abuse at home, and then hunger, starvation and all that. How do we address this issue? Because those are the things that are actually affecting our children, and sometimes it affects them even if they go to school. If they don't have the basic needs, just like you pointed out, they'll find it difficult to grab whatever it is that is being taught at school. So who are the players that should get involved to see that we give these children what they actually need for a better future?
Of course, when we talk about child survival, in this case now we want child survival and then to maintain their rights. We also make reference to the child rights law. We have the child rights law, and in the child rights law it is stipulated that children should be taken care of. So we need implementation and enforcement of the child rights law by all stakeholders. In our law, it states that in every action taken by any organization, any group, the interest of the child must be of paramount. So we call out to the government, to the family, the religious groups, every organization. They should put hands on decks. Everyone has their own duty to ensure that children in our state, children in our environment are well taken care of.
All right, thank you so much. And from you, what message would you want to share with children across the world on this Children's Day, of course, and what advice you have to give to them on becoming empowered leaders of tomorrow?
That's critically a good question. Let's just abandon this Gen Z generation. Let's abandon it. So for my advice to children around the world is that I feel happiest whenever I'm told to do something like this, because if I want to do it, I usually use up to 1 hour, but let me round it off. So children, their interest should be of priority. Their interest should be of paramount, you know. So children should do anything that they feel they can do as an individual. They don't, for example, in feminism and masculinity, you don't have to believe that the society wants you to do this. So you can do that as an individual. Nobody should hold you. You should know your rights. Nobody, even though you don't know your rights, or you know as small, everybody should know that they have right to life, you know. So you should do anything that makes you happy. Because when I believe that
anything,
anything that makes
anything
you happy,
that makes, even if it's a crime,
that can impact the society in a positive way.
Okay.
So, that's the best advice I can give. For me to be happy with other children, I should do something that I feel happier that when I do, I'll get more encouragement from people. I guess that's what children need to do, and they need more encouragement from their parents. So as we incorporate this 2024 Children's Day, it is a critical analysis for children to live their life as a child, because this child is a passing stage. So you have to live your life in your best interest that is good to the society.
All right, I want to say a very big thank you to both of you. Honorable Ambassador Charles Ndokoba, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Honored.
And also Jennifer Eluemuno, thank you so much for being part of this discussion. Well, that's it from us, from the studios of Anambra Broadcasting Service. My name is Chidimma Oranwa. I want to wish all the children all over the world today Happy Children's Day, and make sure that you live a life that you'll be very proud of in the future, because like we always say, you are the leaders of tomorrow. See you again tomorrow. Bye for now.